Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another Global Vox presentation. We have a Beyond the Game PE. We are here with Matt. Matt, you want to introduce yourself real quick? Tell us a little bit about what you do.
I'm at Barrows. I teach PE and health currently at 3 different schools from Kansas City. Things are crazy with going to 3 different schools. We've got 3 different socioeconomic backgrounds between the three different feeder patterns. So I hit a lot on different economics between our communities here in Kansas City.
And what about the racial makeup? Does that differ when you go from school to school?
Yeah, each school's quite a bit different. When you're taking free and reduced lunch, you're looking at one school's around 75%, another school's around 45%, and another school's probably 15%. So quite a bit difference between the 3 places.
And how does that make you vary your approach to what you teach?
I'm more looking at making it fun for these kids, getting them active, and it doesn't really matter. They're no matter what the kid is, who they are, where they're from, they're gonna love it and take it all in. So as far as that difference, it doesn't really affect what happens in the gym for me.
All right. So we are here because there's this viral game that went viral, went crazy. Everybody and their mother's tagging me in the game. I'm sure they're tagging you, any phys ed teachers that people know, they get tagged in this game. And I saw the game, and let's watch this first game because I really want to get your thoughts on what it was. Because when I first saw it and people tagged me in it, I was very surprised by the game and what was going on there. So here we go. We have the ESPN. Can you see the screen, Matt?
Yep.
All right, so tell me, what do you see in this game?
I see these two kids at one time playing, but then, you notice in the background there's about 20 plus kids standing and cheering. So that was the first thing that really caught my attention is there's not a ton of activity going on. And once it's done, you're standing back in line waiting again. So yes, it's a great concept, but as a phys ed teacher, you're kind of disappointed in what you see.
All right, so for me, this is what I saw as busy, happy, good, right? The kids were all engaged, which was really cool, good for them. And they were happy. I mean, the kids are cheering, they're jumping. So if you're a regular administrator who maybe doesn't know a lot about phys ed, you're looking at this as a good activity right here. And I think as teachers, a lot of teachers were seeing the same thing. And I love how busy, happy, good is not good enough anymore. There was not a lot of movement, not a lot going on. So why don't you walk us through this one? And let's see over here, how did you change that original game, which, by the way, is the #1 thing I hope my listeners and watchers get out of this, is that we find stuff and we make it better. We don't just plug and play. That's for rookies. So, Matt, tell us a little bit about it.
So one thing that I always see with anyone on Twitter is taking their game and always seeing how you can adapt it. So what I did to start here is I first added in a couple extra rows of hula hoops to get more teams engaged. So we just advanced it. Instead of having one long game, we've got now 3 games going on with 6 teams, where teams are in 3 groups of 3 or 4. So movement happens a lot quicker.
Can you explain what is the purpose of this game? Why are they going right or left? Is there a direction? What's up with it?
Well, the real purpose for doing this, we just started the school year and we're going over conflict resolution and how to play fairly with our peers and listening to directions. So a lot of this is being able to figure out how you're going to solve a problem, how you're going to solve a conflict. So taking that rock, paper, scissors game for simple conflicts is really what we're focusing on here. But then I took it up a notch with adding in that critical thinking and thinking what path you're going to take, what's going to be the easiest route for you to get a point. So it adds in that dimension to this game.
All right. So how do I get a point during this game?
You get a point by hopping, jumping. I have them hopscotching to any other hula hoop, any other team's hula hoop, their beginning set. So when that student just got to someone else's end point or beginning point, their team or individual receives a point, so they can keep track of it however they want.
I love it. I love it. So easy game. Everyone can participate. A lot more movement. I saw 6, 8 people moving at a time. And that kind of movement's really, really strenuous, right? Your heart rate's getting up. So I think those breaks kind of built in would work really well in that game.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go with some of the questions. What was your assessment of the game? What were you hoping to assess?
So for me this week, I was assessing how students are reflecting and analyzing kind of the etiquette and of the rules and games and how that is going. So it's I did a lot of observation and seeing if kids were being able to play rock, paper, scissors and being okay with losing and going out. Seeing if they're following the rules by jumping, going 2 feet at a time, and really following those rules instead of running through the hula hoops, getting as far as they can, making sure they're going by our guidelines. So it's, for me, this one was a lot of beginning of the year need to know from them.
I love it. Now, the next question is, what do you use for your standards? What standard was this attached to?
We've actually revamped our standards that in our curriculum that we're using in our school district. We didn't really have anything that we went by that was concrete. So these were part of the Missouri GLEs that we did this year with adding them in. So this one was, I believe, 5th grade, reflect and analyze the etiquette of self and others in following rules of various game activities. So
that is fantastic. When we talk about the affective domain, huge, and this is why assessment's so important, because we can do the formative assessment as we go along, find out where the issues are, troubleshoot, and also give them skills to solve those issues.
Oh, yeah.
What separates us from everyone else? And I think we kind of miss out on that. So this is music to my ears right here. So the next question I have, you already talked about the decision-making. Give me a real quick example of the decision-making process that they're going through.
So at the beginning, it was just a one-way path for them. There wasn't a whole lot of decision other than what are you going to throw, rock, paper, scissors. When you add in that horizontal row right there and taking different pathways, they win a game and now they have a decision. Are you going to keep going forward where you're going to possibly have to win another game, or are you going to go off a different direction where you might have a direct path to get a point and not face someone? So a lot of it is them looking and analyzing who is on the course and where they're at. Something else that they started picking up on real quick is if they take that longer path, though, that opens up their pathway as well. So teams are scoring points on them easily too. So there's another element right there with them that they've got to decide, are you going to take this short path or long path? And it might depend on what's open or not.
I love it. And the more we can get a move and end thing at the same time, great mind-body connection there as well. Where's the equity in the game? So let's say that either somebody low level of skill, maybe they were, had physical disability. How do we account for that? And then on the other side, what if somebody's blazing through? How do you account for that as well?
Well, this one, I think it's the equality in this one is nice with the rock, paper, scissors, because that's a lot of chance on everything. So you could have someone that is not very gifted athletically still be able to win these rock, paper, scissors games and keep going and help them feel successful in this. We can take it down as far as movements all the way from kindergarten to 5th grade, what type of movements we're doing in these hula hoops, whether it's hopping on 2 feet or 1 foot, whether it's jumping with 2 feet, whether it's hopscotching in and out. So the grade levels, we definitely vary their abilities and our skills going through the hula hoops. So someone that's pretty quick with it, it might mean you're going in and out of the hula hoops instead of just going straight through, maybe making those students go just like hopscotch. You're going in, out, going, changing up their patterns on them.
Yeah, and I'm thinking if we had somebody in a wheelchair, we could figure out how to go next to their setup.
Oh yeah, that would still work perfectly. And going through the sets right next to it, I think that would be absolutely fine with them too.
Yeah, and I think one of the beauties of this game with the rock paper scissors, anytime we do that, and also anytime we add dice, it takes skill and luck and puts them together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's huge, because if we just rely on skill, all our great athletes, they're going to kill the game, they're going to have fun. Everyone else is going to understand what's going on, see what's going on, and then, not feel like they're contributing the same or not as able to compete at the same level. Now you put that dice in, you put the rock, paper, scissors in, whole lot of evening of the skill there. So I think that's pretty cool. I think I covered everything I need to. What do you have to add first? Anything about the activity, and then anything you want to plug about yourself or anything you're doing or think people should know about?
I mean, this activity, I would suggest, use that base video to start and introduce it, but then start breaking it up. When you're first teaching it, use that one set game to go, and then break it up into two, then break it up into three, and keep adding those levels for the students, because they pick up on this game so quick, and it's so easy for them once they're going. They become problem solvers. They realize how that game works. And I think when you add that dimension each time, it's just something else that they build on top of. Also, think of how you can change it. I've had times where you lose your rock, paper, scissors game, you have to go join a new team. So it's also switching their teams up around where they're going, and they're playing with different people. They're taking different pathways, not the same place. So, my version, there's still better ways to go off of it. So even if you're doing mine, think how you can make it better. Put a poly spot in between the hula hoops, so you've got a different step or movement on the poly spot than you do the hula hoops. So, I mean, that's my big thing with this game. It's still not perfect, and you can take it and make it better, and just do what's best for your kids and how it will work for your school.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really important message of take the game, how's it going to work for you, make it better, change it. And then for me, when I do stuff, my last couple iterations are always asking the students, how can we make this game better? They're much better than we are. We think we know games, and we think outside the box. No. Our students are creative as all. So it's pretty cool to ask them.
And they give me lots of tips on how to change it. I had one 5th grade student. He said, hey, instead of having one person from the team go, let's try 2. And you have to watch for 2 people out there. But once one comes back, then the next can go. And that added even more people. It got crazy with 2 people from each team out there. But, I mean, they made it work, and they figured it out, and they kept going with it. So that was interesting to see. But, yeah, kids, their minds are brilliant, and they're the ones playing the game, so they know what works and what doesn't there.
Absolutely. So real quick, tell us, how can we find you out there to see what else is going on with Matt?
My Twitter handle is Coach Barrows NKC. I've put out weekly activities pretty much every week, what we're doing in the gym, what's going on. I usually post up my ICANN statements, my standards that we're working with, and the game rules. So I've got all those out there. I also have a Facebook page. If anyone is on Facebook, it's Clardy Physical Education, and it's essentially the same stuff posted on there. I can usually post a little bit more videos into a post, so there might be more details going in on there. And then my goal was what this was to essentially try to get this game on ESPN. ESPN's the one who posted out that beginning game, and it was just a terrible representation of PE teachers. Great concept, but when you've got that many kids standing around, when the general public is looking at us, they're thinking, oh, that's a great game. That's awesome. Those kids are having fun. They're playing rock, paper, scissors and trying to make it to the end. But I think what they don't see is all the kids standing back there, and that's what us as physical educators see. So my goal with this was to get enough shares and reposts to be able to have ESPN pick it up and really show the real deal and what PE is all about and what we love to do.
I love it. So when you watch the video, I'll put it in the show notes. Tag ESPN. Hopefully they will pick it up. So Matt, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. Anytime.
All right.